All right, we're ready to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and we'll have a moment of silence afterwards.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Approval of the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the amended agenda.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
No, thank you. So we need to accept the results of the election.
I make a motion that we accept the result of the election.
All in favor?
Aye.
This time, we'd like to take a moment. First of all, thank you all for joining us tonight, and appreciate you being here, especially our representatives from Whiteman Air Force Base. And everybody's looking good in purple tonight, so thank you for helping represent the military child by purpling up tonight. At this time, we wanted to do a recognition of outgoing board members, and tonight we'll, at least at this point in time, mark the last meeting for President Marion Matthews. And on behalf of our students and our teachers and administration and community, we just wanted to give you a very heartfelt thank you for your service on our Board of Education. I can't speak for the full time, but I know for my time here, there's been a number of fantastic improvements down the path from good to great under your leadership as board president, and we certainly appreciate that. And one of the things that we've done is prepared a gift for you from the team. We have a locally made shop. I know you're big on being vocal for shopping local, and we have a flag for you, locally made, and on the back that says thank you for your service, and once a Panther, always a Panther. So
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate everybody's support, and I wish the board the best of luck.
I want to say thank you from the very beginning. You first one called me and told me congratulations. Ever since you made me feel welcome, I appreciate that. Thank you.
So as most of us know, she is also heavily engaged in the Valdosta Revitalization Commission. So I don't think this will be the last we see Mrs. Matthews around our school and certainly through our community. And item C is appoint chairman for oath of office, administration, and election of a school board president.
I make a motion to nominate Kelly Davis for school board president at this time.
At this time, you get to appoint me as chairman, and then we'll move into that one next.
Okay, I gotta get myself there. I make a motion that we appoint you as chairman. Anyone?
I second it.
Okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Now we move into item D, which is adjournment Sendai. Adjournment Sendai from Latin word without a means without assignment a day for further meeting or hearing. To adjourn an assembly Sendai is to adjourn it for an indefinite period. A legislative body adjourns Sendai when it adjourns without appointing a day on which to appear or assemble again. I think the reason that they do that and overcomplicate that is to make sure the superintendent doesn't call for a motion to adjourn after the board has been dissolved. So that's the best I can say. So we are going to adjourn Sendai. We would call for a motion on that.
Make a motion of adjournment Sendai 2016-17 Board of Education.
First by Kelly Davis. Second by Mr. Judd. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next up, we would invite our newly elected board members to come forward and take the oath of office. We have Ms. Leslie Walling, Ms. Kelly Davis, and Mr. Paul Virtue. All right, so if you guys can hold up your hand. And you can read with me. I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Missouri, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of school director in and for the Mount Master School District, County of Johnson, State of Missouri, to the best of my ability, according to law.
welcome. Congratulations. Welcome. Welcome, and I do want to say it's not sometimes being a board member is a thankless job, but on a special occasion, I mentioned this earlier, you get to have your first board meeting on your birthday and celebrate. So welcome, and we're glad you're here. And if you want And the next order of business is the election of the board president. At this time, we would open up for nominations.
All right. So I got carried away the first time. I nominate Kelly Davis for board president at this time.
Okay, nomination of Mrs. Davis. Are there any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate Paul Virtue for president.
Okay. Second nomination is Paul Virtue for the board presidency.
Can I speak?
Yes, sir.
I thank you, Tom, for the nomination, but I respectfully cannot accept you at this time. Thank you. So I decline the position, if elected. I respectfully decline the position at this time, Tom.
Okay, are there any other nominations? Hearing none, we would call for a vote. That would be in the form of a motion to nominate or to elect Mrs. Davis as president.
Okay, I make a motion with this. We got a second on that. I'll second.
So motion by Mr. Berkey, second by Mr. Judd, all in favor?
Aye.
Abstain, or opposed? Abstained? Okay, motion carries 5-0-1. Okay, at this time, I will turn the meeting back over to President Mrs. Davis. Congratulations.
Okay, a motion to elect the vice president of the Board of Education. I would like to make the motion to elect Clint Judd as the vice president of the board.
Just have a second. I'd like to second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? And there we have it, 5-0-1. Welcome, Clint.
Congratulations.
I make a motion to appoint the treasurer of the Board of Education. Do we have a second?
Second, I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Any abstentions? Any opposed? 5-0-1. Oh,
Congratulations.
the motion to appoint the secretary of the Board of Education. Any nominations?
I nominate Keith Husband at this time.
Any seconds? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any abstentions? Any opposed? 7-0. 6-0.
Congratulations.
Get that in the notes there. Okay, all right. All right, public comments on agenda items. We don't have any. Any correspondence to the board? And we have recognition this month of the Namnasper School District team from Whiteman.
This month is the month of the military child, and what better way to celebrate our children than to also honor their parents and what they do for us as a school. Tonight we will be honoring Brigadier General Paul Tibbetts IV, Mrs. Angel Tibbetts, Colonel Kenneth Dees, Colonel Brian Morgan, Colonel Mark Ely, Colonel Master Sergeant Melvina Smith, Mr. Derek Smith, Colonel Aeneas Gooding, Lieutenant Colonel Michael Evans, Mr. Kendall Nugent, Staff Sergeant Michael Berman, Mrs. Diane Munley, Mr. Walter Barwell, Mrs. Morgan Hildebrand, Master Sergeant Jamie Kolakowski, Senior Airman Jared Shannon, Captain Carl Wiest, Miss Jennifer Green, and
Sergeant Tyler Alexander, sorry, I'm obviously not military, you guys can correct me. And Sergeant Miguel Laura. Tech Sergeant, both of those are Tech Sergeants, I learned something new tonight. Senior Airman Joel Feister, Captain Nicholas Cunningham, Mr. Gerald Torres, and Mr. Joshua Bailey. Normally this is when I would get up and talk to you about what you mean to our school, but we have some special guests that would like to tell you what you mean to our school. So if you'll turn your attention, please. This worked before the meeting 3 times.
Just a small glitch.
Yeah. Mr. Davis, could we have you step in?
Well, I would like to say thank you for all that you do for our kids. You know, there's all that behind the scenes and things that we don't all see, but we know it gets done, and we really appreciate what you do for our kids. Seriously, thank you so much.
I, for one, would also like to say thank you, not just for our kids, but what you do for our community. I'm on the area business council, and we asked for volunteers last year for the citywide cleanup, and it was amazing the number of military and military-affiliated folks that showed up to support us out there at the four-way stop in Noster. I could not believe the number of people that stepped up to volunteer to help us, you know, working on trying to improve our city. So thank
It was
you.
actually more than
You know,
people that lived in town, so we thank you for that.
yeah, but it was really heartfelt and wonderful.
So I'll fill in here as well. One of the things that we're doing, we'll hear a little bit more from our counselors later, but this is one of the ways that we here in K&E recognize our military students. And I'm just going to pull this out. Month of the Military Child April Appreciation. And if you can see from back there, we've got all of our military connected students, and they're kind of represented as dandelions blowing in the air. And I know we've had a lot of activities during the lunch period this week. And it's been really neat from the comments back on just students identify, oh, you're a military child. And I think even the ones that are actually up here in the wind at the top, those are the students that are PCS'd out. And it was just kind of a neat idea to use that analogy with our students. But you can see here at K&E what that means, and you can just picture that times another 70-80% out at Whiteman Elementary. So we're continuing to try to look for ways to recognize our special students and all that they do. And I just want to also say thank you to our administrators for helping lead that charge and make this an important part of our program here. I know in the morning out of Whiteman we have a parade, and I don't know what else is going on out there tomorrow, but it's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be big. If you need to leave, go get some extra zines so you can keep up.
That's fine. Right now.
Okay, well, we're going to keep the meeting moving. We would now like to have the Whiteman report, please.
All right, good evening. 3 items to present to the board and those in the audience tonight. The first 2 are to kind of catch you up on some of the events that have happened in Whiteman since our last meeting. Some of which you may know, but the first is we hosted a senior leader conference approximately the 3rd week of March. This was Whiteman's total force team that had the privilege of hosting the Air Force Global Strike Senior Leader Conference. This was a great opportunity, and we showcased dozens of military and civic leaders from across the command and showed them why we at Whiteman have America's premier bomber force. The guests were amazed at the professionalism, and not surprisingly, the white airmen they met at Whiteman, as well as their dedication. They were equally impressed when they saw the B-2 close up, which was something each of them got to do. So, and you'll get to do too if you come to the thing that I'm going to mention third, which is their show. More to follow on that in a second. Last week, we had what's commonly known as the NUACs. We had approximately 400 civilian and military personnel participate in the nuclear weapons accident incident exercise, which was hosted at Whiteman. This is a Department of Defense exercise led by the DoD, in which nuclear weapon emergency exercise that is designed to validate the capability of emergency responder assets to safely mitigate an accident involving a U.S. nuclear weapon. It's probably important to note that the exercise did not actually involve a nuclear weapon or radioactive material. Rest assured, we weren't doing any of that. It examined technical response procedures, support systems, weapon recovery, equipment, and training. The NUACs exercise also examined the roles and responsibilities under the nuclear weapon accident response procedures, involved department and agency mutual aid agreements, and other national level policy associated with U.S. government. Lastly, I would say that many of the interagency partners that we have across the U.S. government, such as Department of Energy, FBI, and many others also participated. So those are some very large muscle movements that have happened at Whiteman within the last month. And those things, in addition to everything else that happens every day, came off flawlessly. The last thing I want to mention to you is hopefully exciting. It's been mentioned before, but not with as much detail as I'm about to tell you right now. The Wings Over Whiteman Air Show that's coming up 10 and 11 June. The question was posed a couple meetings ago, what acts will be performing? I'm happy to tell you that the U.S. Army team will be participating. And if you haven't heard, there's going to be a large representation of World War II warbirds. So B-17s, B-29s, A-20s, and the Canadians will be here with an aerobatic team, and also the MiG-17 will be on hand to provide a demonstration. So encourage everyone to come out. That's free to get in, and it should be a great time. Any question? That concludes the Whiteman report.
Are you sure that's the way it was? Because I noticed I have to turn my night lights on. I'm just saying, that nuclear thing, I have to turn my night lights on. I'm just saying, I'm asking.
It's okay. It's all right. It's going to be all right. We did just fine.
If you're okay, I'm okay.
We're good. We're good. So,
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Here's a.
The Whiteman report from the school home.
If you
We
could,
have, I'm sorry.
we might try one more effort here to, I know there was a lot of effort and we're in this video.
We're gonna try to go ultra old school, so if the mouthing isn't perfect, it's Dr. Wheeler's fault. All right. Ready? Go.
Well, it's more about my dad, and I'm proud of him for not being just a hero to like my family, but to the country and his position. He's in leadership, and he's really good at what he does, so it just makes me proud to be a military child.
So I'm kind of supporting those halfway places.
we can stop at places for the night. Thank you, Dad, for giving us a big thing. I like being able to experience some new places and meet a bunch of new people from all around the world, and just being able to experience lots of different cultures. I like being able to meet new people and do fun things like go to like NASCAR races and football games and stuff, and get to meet all the famous people. And I like it when you're on base, you can feel safe and go anywhere you want, and you know you're gonna be okay. The beach that was near our home in Florida, and spending time with my
So, like, you get opportunities you didn't really get if you were out of military. I mean, you could have those opportunities, but it's not as abundant. Like, I've been to Europe, I've been all over the US, done a lot of cool things too.
Well, we don't really move around really, but we get to go on base and like they have the gym and the commissary is cheaper.
Probably like moving and meeting new people the most, seeing new places. I like a whole lot of it. I like that my dad is doing something for our country, something important. I like moving around, seeing new places, meeting new people. It's very exciting.
He gave me $1 so at the snack bar, my mom will come with me and I can buy a snack there. And I got a root beer from him. The crazy part about Dad working on base is that he tells people about me and my brothers, and my friends know about me and him. Well, now that he got this other job, he can come home earlier and we can play with him longer. Sometimes he takes us to the base and we can play with him there over the weekend sometimes. And he is very good at his job, and he always has good things to say when he comes home. And he has really funny things about his birthday every day when he comes home.
Yes, please come up. I told you we wouldn't wait. Also, much better job than I could have done. Thank you guys very much for all that you do for us. We'd like to give you a certificate and get a picture with you as well.
Brother, yeah, right.
We are going to kind of get back to behind our team.
I don't know of a better chance for me to say this, so I just want to let you know that every morning about 7:15, I'm praying for all y'all, and I appreciate what you do for my kids.
Thank
So,
you. Thank you. All right, we have our principal and director reports that are, that have been on our board docs for information. Do you have any questions or concerns about those? Okay, MSBA report.
See if this works. Hang on. Gonna have video. Okay, we'll go ahead and skip the MSB report. I can probably tell you what the important parts are in my report.
All right, superintendent report.
Good evening again, everyone. So included in along with my report is a legislative bulletin. I'm going to jump right into that. Last night around 10 o'clock, Senate Bill 313, which is the voucher bill that's being pushed through, there was a tag on to that bill last night, which the bill originally focused on a voucher program for students with special needs. And last night late, there was a call that came, as I understand it, down from the governor and to our local Senator Hoskins to attach to that bill eligibility for military-connected students to receive those vouchers. So kind of made an emergency trip over to the Capitol today to speak in regards to that. We're working with our lobbyist, Steve Carroll, through Cooperating School Districts, who has been tracking this thing for the last 2 months, and as well as Joe Driscoll, and working in unison with the Waynesville School District to adamantly fight against this bill. There are obviously some political and strategic reasons why that military child was tacked on at the last second. So we are, at this point, it looks like it will pass on to the House with approval, and there may be an opportunity that bill gets bogged down with attachments, and we can hope that it may run out of time. But at this time, we will continue to lobby against that and reach out to our senators. So it's a two-edged sword. With that bill passing, there would be an opportunity for military-connected students outside the non-Mercer School District to participate in that program and attend our schools. However, the slippery slope on that is that we know that for every student that lives on base and works on base, we would have to pick up 5 students that would transfer from outside the district in to account for every 1 student that left the base and went elsewhere, and that's because of how impact-aid funding works. That formula, there are 2 pools of money that are going to be impacted by this, and I don't believe this is widely known either at the governor's office or at the legislative level. But the funding with impact aid will not follow those kids to that other district in the same proportion or amount that we receive here in Valdosta, and that is based on how the funding formula works. And I know the board has sent out an email immediately last night to kind of speak to that. So It's a little bit of a last minute surprise, which nobody really likes unless it's your birthday. Surprise. But other than that, we're going to continue to work through this and hopefully find a way to get that unattached. Politics are interesting with our military connected members. I know I've spoken with General Tibbetts about this, but we've got to be very careful on how we approach that. And we definitely don't want to fall into the same mold of leveraging the wrong people or students for political reasons. So that's kind of as bluntly as I can put it. We, as a district, have been making pointed efforts over the last year to do a better job of communicating and marketing our program. The facts as it stands is Navnaster is, as you are aware, the top performing district in the 4 counties surrounding Whiteman Air Force Base. Our annual performance report and our ACT scores this year put us at the top of the conference, the 4-county region, and we had to reach into, I believe, Lee Summit, Blue Springs, Park Hill to find an APR that is of the same level as ours. ACT scores are going extremely well. I don't need to speak to our robotics. I think we're all up to speed on what we're doing there. Likewise with NIMSY and advanced placement courses, we're knocking it out of the park there. We've added soccer. We're making concentrated efforts to strengthen our extracurricular activities. But at the end of the day, there are things that are offered in Lawrenceburg, in Sedalia, that we don't offer. And a lot of those are in the extracurricular realm, but sometimes those are the things that can drive decisions with students and parents. So I think we're trending in the right direction. We will, essentially, if this passes through, the gloves will be off in terms of recruitment and retention of students. And as we know, the recruitment and retention of students will be the lead indicator in our ability to recruit and retain our staff. So we will do a rally call with our employees on Monday during our professional development planned session, and we will see what we can do to leverage our local resources against that. So not exactly exciting news, but at the same time, in my opinion, there's no place that I would rather have my students attend than Navnaster schools. So hopefully many others will share in that opinion. Moving along, April is the month of the military child. As we know, we've done some celebrations. Again, tonight we have on our purple ribbons and purple attire to honor those students. We appreciate the ongoing partnership with Whiteman Air Force Base. Good news for the night, our student laptops are finally on site. I think they rolled in yesterday afternoon. They were unpacked within 45 minutes, and I ran over, and the tech team was ripping into those and getting those imaged, and we will be rolling those out within the next week or so.
Seventh grade kids theirs will be delivered tomorrow.
7th grade tomorrow, and then on down
on Monday
after the Easter break. So we appreciate that effort, and as we know, that was held up for a reason unrelated to something that was in our control, but we are making haste to get those out to our students. They will be in place for map testing. We will also have our backup plan in case something happened to go wrong. Legislatively, the budget proposal on deck is calling for full funding of the foundation formula, as well as stabilized funding of transportation. At this time, the budget is being prepared with a state adequacy target of 6,200, Prop C factor of 990, and classroom trust of 400. Those are reasonably conservative, but probably will be pretty accurate as we calculate our state funding. Later in the agenda, I'm going to provide an update on impact aid as it relates to the Trump skinny budget. Later this evening, we look forward to approving contracts for a host of new teacher hires. That will include the Whiteman Elementary principal, high school PE and head football coach, head track coach, several elementary teachers, middle school teachers, high school teachers, and special education staff. So I want to commend our admin team on doing a great job with really reaching out, recruiting, and attracting some high quality candidates to join our team. And we look forward to bringing them in and getting them acquainted to the orange and black. To communicate that out to the community, we're doing something a little different this year. We will be periodically rolling out press releases on all of our new faculty hires. That's just a one easy effort to introduce those new hires to the community, help them learn a little bit about who we've brought in, and just an initial push. We also have on Monday, new Whiteman principal will be out lined up to meet with the staff, and then we will do a meet and greet with her. I know there's been some talk about our coaches, and we will look for some potential opportunities to get them engaged with our students and parents as well. Last but not least, the Stealth Panther robotics team traveled to Minnesota and brought home the Rookie Team of the Year award. They also punched their ticket to the upcoming First Robotics World Championship in St. Louis. After this was written, we also found out that they have been invited to compete in the state championship. So we're very proud of our robotics students. Our teacher, the Adams family, is making some monstrous accomplishments this year in robotics, so we're very, very happy with them. Attendance enrollment numbers. Nalmanasser High School 349 with an attendance rate of 96.08. Nalmanasser Middle School 458 with attendance of 95.43. Nalmanasser Elementary 371, attendance 95.98. Whiteman Elementary 320 with an attendance of 94.16. District total 1498. Overall attendance of 95.41. The gold star goes out to Nalmanasser High School for your attendance this month. Excellent job.
Get those cookies and donuts out there nice and early in the morning.
Whatever works.
It's all about the groceries, girl.
No pressure at other middle school. Last but not least, financial reports for month ending. Balances all revenues $13,458,366. Revenues to date $12,995,179, which is 81% of anticipated. Expenditures $10,745,140, which is 67% of budgeted. And that concludes my report.
Thank you so much. Next up is the character education and bullying prevention in the Nalmanasser School District, and this is for information only.
We would invite Ms. Scarborough up. Oh, all of you.
Originally, the counselors were asked to put together kind of a presentation on how we choose to address the issues of character education as well as bullying prevention. And when we were visiting with the counselors, we kind of took this on and decided maybe it's our turn to step up in front of you and kind of explain what we're doing. So many times our kids, we focus so much on academics, we forget that they're human beings and we have a responsibility to make them good people. So the approach that all of us, I'm speaking for all of them, but I think that we take an approach as being proactive, giving them skills to make them good people. Instead of always saying, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. We want you to do this. So we compiled a list of things that we do in every building. We believe, obviously, right, relationships are the foundation of everything that we do in any one of our buildings. And I think you'll see when we describe some of the activities that we do day in and day out, that's what we focus on. Building up relationships, creating that community that we have within our school and within our classrooms, so kids can learn how to resolve conflict. They can learn how to care about each other, do nice things for others. And we feel that that has a positive impact. If you look at our attendance, like Mr. Eastwood just said, considering all the activities that go on and vacations and people getting pulled in different directions, our attendance is very, very good. And I'd like to say that it's because we do such a good job of building relationships and giving kids a reason to want to come to school. There's a lot of pressure to adopt canned programs, for lack of a better word, to promote positive character or to promote anti-bullying. But we kind of take our own approach. We look at our kids, we figure out what they need as issues arise and adjust. And sometimes it's adjusting on the fly. If there's an issue that happens, our counselors go to work, our teachers go to work to meet the needs of our kids. And I think you'll see that we have a wide range of things that we do, but because it's so wide range, we want to meet the needs of all of our kids. We have some high functioning kids, but all of our kids have needs. All of our kids are at risk in some area. And so we feel that we have to address those things throughout our curriculum, not just in one way of saying, this is how we're gonna approach character, and this is how we're gonna approach anti-bullying. It all encompasses what we do every single day in our classes. So what the counselors have actually done is they put together different slides for us. So we're just gonna go building by building, kind of give you a synopsis of what we do and how we do just that. We support growth, encourage risk, and cultivate dreams.
So at the high school, like Shelby said, we address character every day, literally every day in the classroom. Even, a student gets sent to Mr. Easterwood's office, I come to him over there counseling with them, really working him working those students through situations, how might better approach it next time. So when we look through this, this stuff really just scratches the surface. The stuff that happens day in and day out are the things that are really growing our kids, teaching our kids, helping our kids in real adult situations. And so I feel like this is really just kind of additional. It's just additional things, but they are things that are important and things that we're really kind of excited about. So we obviously at the high school need to start really preparing those kids for what they're going to do once they leave our walls. We no longer will be able to mold them and make them and have a little finger on them. And so what are they going to do when they leave us? We have started doing some, we've got a secondary success team that is doing some professional development, some pretty extensive professional development actually, where we are going to learn building-wide how to implement some of those character traits into our daily lessons. It won't be just a special lesson on character. It might be, but again, it's really ingrained in those everyday lessons. So if you will go to the next slide. So this is the wheel that we are really focusing on. That cognitive piece at the bottom, those are the things we do with our curriculum every day. Those are the things that we are really good at as teachers. But it's those intrapersonal and those interpersonal things that we are really beginning to focus on. We've got some pilot teachers right now who are piloting some ideas and some thoughts about how we can implement this and really highlight these pieces throughout teaching of the curriculum. But those are the things that we are really going to be focusing on next year, building wide. I think we do a pretty good job of those things. When you hear teachers talk, and hear teachers, and they do build those relationships, and you hear Mr. Easterwood visiting with them. I'll grab a kid in the hallway, our secretaries, our counselors, we're all involved. Our custodians, our lunch ladies. I mean, every person in that building. I see the relationships that our bus drivers have with their kids. They're all teaching those interpersonal skills as well. And so I don't want to leave that out in the importance of those support people in our buildings as well, because they do just as much probably, if not more for some of our students than the teachers that they see every day as well. I think the next slide, it talks about how we address it in our curriculum every day as well, but I think I've already addressed that pretty well.
Our counselors spend time going in twice a month to each of the classrooms. So it's a small classroom environment. They're focusing on our character work. So it's not so much teaching them in isolation, but applying them to what they're doing in that particular class or what's going on in that particular grade level. Taylor Cox is one of our counselors as well, and she designs character lessons. So Character Wednesday is what we do during advisory. And for those of you that don't know, excuse me, advisory is our home base. All of our students are assigned to an advisory. They start the first 12 minutes of the day. It's not academic time, solely focused on building a community, having your own little family at school. And they do a variety of activities. And Wednesdays, there's usually a news clip and some questions for conversation. If you think about it, we do a lot of talking for kids and don't always let them develop their own voice. Why do you believe what you believe? And a lot of times the kids will say, well, my mom and dad told me that's what I have to do. But we try to challenge the kids to truly become independent, challenge their thinking so that they are able to stand up for what they believe in and figuring out what it is that they believe. So we also try to advocate leadership. There's a leader in every single person, and sometimes people have a hard time finding that within them. So we have two strong leadership groups, our Mafia, which are middle schoolers out in front in action, and our student council. But we also try to find leadership opportunities for kids. It could be one of our students at lunch going up every day to take a note to the office. Just empowering them to let them know that they can make a difference. Pink Panther and Level Up, the counselors in both middle school and high school, spent countless hours doing these events for our 8th graders. Pink Panther for the ladies, Level Up for the gentlemen, and this is a way to help them transition into high school. We notice that every day with our 8th graders, they get giddy with excitement about going to high school, and then minutes later, they're scared to death. They suddenly act like 6-year-olds and start having temper tantrums because they are scared. They don't know what to expect. So by having these activities, it kind of eases their mind. They're going to be okay. It's going to be all right. Mixed up at lunch. This is probably, it's fun to watch, but it also creates a lot of anxiety with our students. But they divided our cafeteria up, and each table was a separate color. So as kids came in the cafeteria, they were all given a color. And they had to go, after they got their lunch, report to the trade that had that particular color. And then we had some of our student council and our mafia kiddos sitting at the table, asking questions, facilitating conversations, so they could meet new people and learn how to have a conversation with complete strangers. You sit there and think, how hard can it be? But we're embarking on a generation of kids that have trouble with face-to-face conversations. So teaching them how to facilitate those conversations was powerful. It was great. Happiness Week, if you notice in my board report, we challenged our advisories during Happiness Week. It was the week before spring break. Because there is truly a Happiness Day, which happened to be like March 20th, but we celebrated for the whole week. And during that week, they all had a challenge. They had to do something to make someone else happy. And so we put together a video, and we had our 6th grade raised over $200 for the pet. What's it called? What is it? Some pet project, but they raised a lot of money, and they got to march all these food supplies for pets to this lady's house, and she wrote the sweetest thank you note that's on display in the hallway. Because we want them to understand that when you do something nice for somebody, you don't always have to expect something in return. We also had one of our 5th graders wrote signs to put on the table in the cafeteria, just with encouraging messages. And so it was neat to see the kids come up with these ideas. Obviously, we do small group counseling, but probably the most important thing, conflict resolution. So I'm going to tie this back to bullying prevention. Kids don't know how to resolve their conflicts. So many times, like I just said, people are telling them, you need to say this, you need to do that. Instead of truly teaching them how to have a conversation. It's difficult for adults to have conversations that could result in conflict. But that's one of the things that Julie and I spend a lot of extra time with our kids, investing that time. Like, if Mr. Easterwood says something mean to me, I have options. I can go home and tell my parents, get my parents all wound up. I can go tell a teacher, get a teacher all wound up. Or I can learn to go straight to the source, and we're going to have a conversation. It takes time, but the positive impact that it's had on relationships with these students is amazing. And they feel empowered, that they know that they can resolve conflict. So we do a variety of different things, but I think the most important thing is that our kids feel connected to our school, and that's what we want our teachers to make our kids feel that way, we want our students to feel that way, and that's our job, is to make them want to come to school, not only to learn science, math, readings, and social studies, but to learn how to get along with others, and to learn those skills, as Connie mentioned, that's going to help them land those career opportunities to make them successful.
Excellent. I'll kind of piggyback off of both of those that have been shared already. I am honored and blessed to have Amy Wheeler in my family this year. She's been amazing. She is my right hand man, truly. Her and Megan Jones, which is our impact counselor, she has also been wonderful. We just aren't looking to have her full time. But literally, I think the biggest thing they have done this year is built relationships with the kids. You cannot get kids to do anything at the elementary level unless they trust you first. And so they have done an amazing job of meeting those individual needs of kiddos. And so beyond, if they flip slides for me, beyond kind of the items that are seen up here, they have built those relationships with the kids, whether it's eating lunch with them in the cafeteria or triaging with them first thing in the morning, passing out backpack snacks on Friday afternoons. They have done what it is take and to build those personal relationships, those kids do trust them. So when they do have a problem, they are able to help them solve. A huge thing that we do focus on in the elementary school are those monthly character traits, and just instilling those good character traits each month in students. Obviously, we can't choose all kiddos to be character winners, but we want them to all recognize the signs of being good character citizens and follow those traits and want to be good role models and eventually good citizens in our community. So the better that we can instill those values in them, obviously the more successful they are going to be. So we do focus a lot on our classroom lessons when Mrs. Wheeler meets with the kiddos on those character words and those character traits each month and kind of what that looks like, and they kind of role play, go through examples. And then we do focus on our character assemblies and make a huge deal out of those to get those kids excited and want to be a character kid. Something they have implemented this year also is the character recognition events. So they started out with one in the fall at the football games, and the kiddos got to run down the field if they were a character winner, and that was really exciting for the kids. And then they had one at the tree lighting afterwards. They had a tree lighting ceremony here in Mount Master, and after that, we recognized character kids. And then they had one at the soccer game, and I'm forgetting one other. So, basketball, thank you. So that is just a great way that we can recognize those kids in the community and have the community an opportunity to see those winners as well. But beyond that, we've done our Red Ribbon Week where we have elected to make good choices. We also tied that to anti-bullying and just what that looks like. If you do have a conflict with somebody, how you can resolve that with yourself in a polite way without having to result in violence. So we're fixing them by the time they get to you guys. So one step at a time. But like I said, kind of going back to that individual counseling is probably the biggest step. That triage that Amy and Megan have put in place to meet with those kiddos and meet the individual needs is more crucial this year.
All right, so one of the main ways, one of the main advantages we have in school is, when kids struggle, just talk to them about how to manage that and solve problems in life. Recently, I'm leading a meeting in my office. And by the way, I coach kids that struggle with behavior problems. And I work this out with the teacher. Hey, if you're struggling, try to read yourself ahead of time and come see me. And that's what we do as adults. We go calm down, we come back, and then we act civil. So I'm leading a meeting with adults. And the 6-year-old who doesn't like to write comes in my office. While I'm leading this meeting, he raises his hands up and he goes, Dr. Wilhoit, they made me write in the library. Who writes in the library? And so I took a moment, stopped the meeting, said, hey, Tommy, what's going on? He goes, I can't believe she tried to make me write. I'm feeling really mad right now. Well, I'm proud of you that you're able to identify that emotion. What do you think? What did you do in response to that in the library? He goes, well, I threw my shoe. Where did you throw it? At the teacher. What kind of result did that produce? Well, I'm here. And then the great thing about elementary school is they're young and the fruit, it's low-hanging fruit. You really get to coach them. Hey, bud, here are the consequences if you continue to go down this path. But you've done the right thing, come up here. You've owned it. You've got to go back and apologize, make it right. Try not to do that again. It's one of the great things about elementary school is you really get to apply, help them apply. All right, we're just not talking about integrity in a conceptual sense. We have to get them apply. And one of the, one of my favorite parts of the character ed program is you get to deal with characters. I mean, you get to help them deal with how do I practice character in a real world sense. Another story, I had a wonderful second grader come run up to me in the hall one day and she said, Dr. Wilhoit, my dad's in a scary place. Didn't know where he is. He's deployed. And I want to talk for a minute about our deployment groups. One of the cool things we have at Whiteman is we have our MFLAC, the Military Family Life Counselor, as well as our guidance counselor. They do a fabulous job. Again, sitting down with kids, helping them process the emotions of life as a military kid. And they both do a fabulous job, and I can't say enough. Our guidance counselors, as Ms. Mellon noted, just do a bang-up job. And our MFLACs really fill the gap. I hope that program continues in the district. It's just been wonderful to have them there. The MFLACs have been a great resource for our kids, but also for families. And families have opened up and been able to invite them in and get some direction for family life. So, 2 great programs, and thanks for the opportunity to teach character. It's really one of the fun parts about the job.
You'll finish the story.
What part? What about the shoe? He didn't get, he walked around with one shoe for the rest of the day. That was part of the consequence. And then, he's kept the shoes on. Fits him.
It fits. Thank you.
I just want to say very quickly 2 points. First of all, thank you for a very good presentation representing not just our counseling department, but all of our employees. We appreciate what we do, and we talk and we talked a lot about what we're producing as our students. And if students leave Mount Master High School with a diploma, and we have failed them with quality character development and real life skills, then we haven't done our job. And we continue to put this up as a priority for our district. And you can hear from the words tonight that, you know, that stuff would not be happening if it was not a priority. To that point, it's in our new mission statement. We promote quality, character, and patriotism in our classrooms, on our courts, fields, and stages. And it's something that's important to us. It's in our mission, and we will continue to build that program. To that point, for those listening at home or in our audience tonight, if you're a local business or a local person and you want to endorse our character education in Navajo schools and throughout the community, it doesn't cost a penny to put your name behind that program or your business name and say, we're invested in quality character development in our students. So we have several businesses that have agreed to do that. We certainly send that invitation out openly and want to unite our community around this effort and make sure that we're creating that common language and that common focus monthly with what we're talking about in our schools. Take that out into our community and home. So thank you guys again for a job very well done.
Need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I got a couple of items. The audit agreement, it's not all there, so
Missing page 8.
it's missing all the different pages.
I think that was a two-sided. Did
you catch something I didn't there?
I think it was two-sided, got scanned one-sided.
It's missing, so only half of it's presented here.
Okay.
The other question I had is on the Greater Kansas City Cooperative Schools, that contract we pay.
We do.
That is not in there, the amount. I don't know how you can enter into a contract amount.
That is this actually came from them late. We actually approved that earlier in the year, and then I received this. I think this is a formality or designation of them as our, basically our lobbyist and educational provider. That the Steve Carroll that I was talking to today at the Capitol, that is kind of one of the functions of this organization. But I want to say that bill came through back in September, possibly, and then they followed up with an email on this just as a formality. I want to say that amount was, it was like $3,000. I have to go back and see.
I just have concern entering into a contract that doesn't have anything stipulated.
We can pull that from the consent agenda and get that
I don't know
modified.
what I would.
Okay. In fact, why don't we pull both of those with the scanning, pull items, table items I and K, and then we can get those back in with further detail next month.
So the new motion would be to approve the consent agenda with the exception of I and K.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. New business?
Oh.
Yeah. Who made the first motion?
No, I seconded that motion. You made the motion, and then I seconded it. You asked for a motion. Oh, you asked for a motion.
All right, approval of bills requiring extension.
We have two of those tonight, A and B, just because of the way the bills fell. So I have those highlighted with the abstentions listed.
Any questions? Second? Make a motion.
You
Need a motion to approve bills requiring extension.
Which one, A or B?
All in favor? Opposed? And abstentions? 2. Approval of bills requiring extensions, B.
I make a motion that we approve the bill. I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? And abstentions? Approval of bills for award,
Make a motion we approve the bill. Item C. I'll second.
all in favor? Aye. Security measures and banking account, this is for information and discussion only.
As the board is aware, the district's financial security was recently placed in a potentially vulnerable situation when our bank account and routing numbers were posted on social media by an individual who gained access to a check which was made out to a former employee of the district. In response, the district immediately took action to add additional monitoring to that account by both the bank and the district. This action was taken as a stopgap until the district could set up a new account. The district is in the process of completing that setup for the new account and will close this account as soon as possible. At this time, we're aware of no fraudulent activity on the account, but we wanted to put this on record, and we will continue to monitor that. This incident was also reported from Missouri Attorney General.
MSBA regional spring meeting,
Just wanted to mention to the board, we have an upcoming Region 5 meeting being hosted at Warrensburg at Maple Grove Elementary. That's Tuesday, May 2nd, 2017, from 6 to 8:30 p.m. If there's anyone that would like to attend, we would be happy to register you. Just let myself or Mrs. Huntsman know. I think the board is aware from prior participation that if we have 5 members present, I believe it is, we get entered into a scholarship, $1,000, I think, and we would love to have that opportunity to pass that along. So please let us know if you can make that meeting. Okay, Ms. Davis. Okay. We will get you signed up, and you guys can check your calendars if there's anyone else that would like to attend. More than welcome.
board planning and development,
I just wanted to get kind of an update on the remainder of this fiscal year in terms of meeting dates. This is the year-long schedule. So May 15th, we will have we have a tentatively scheduled food service committee meeting. Regular meeting is on May 17th. May 24th will be the budget work session. June 19th, board retreat to be determined. And then June 21st would be our regular meeting, last meeting of the fiscal year. And if you have any conflicts with that, just let me know and we can look for other options.
summer school update.
All right, so this summer we will again be operating an in-house program throughout our district. Like last year, it's pretty much congruent to what we've done last year. We will offer a tiered student incentive program. Again, that is a 100% to each student with perfect attendance, $75 for students with any time missed up to 1 day, and a $50 incentive for students missing up to 2 days. Enrollment to date is attached. We do anticipate the numbers to climb as we get closer to June. we're pleased to announce this summer that all students will receive a free breakfast and free lunch for summer school in 2017. So that's kind of an exciting incentive. I want to say thank you to Mrs. Frieden and Mr. Coron for helping set that up. We do have our summer school curriculum objectives, which are the same as last year.
How are the numbers compared to last year?
We're slightly under where we were last year, but I do anticipate that we're going to keep pushing that and should have, hopefully see those numbers rise. We did things a little bit differently this year. We ran 19 days of summer school, which starts the Tuesday after Memorial Day and then runs that 4-day week and then 3 5-day weeks after. And the thinking on that was we run fewer days and slightly longer days to keep our total hours up. There are some advantages to that in terms of incentives. You only have to show up 19 days, and then we run our food service and busing staffing fewer days. We've kind of had mixed reviews on that, so we're going to evaluate that and see. A lot of people want to go 4-day weeks and stretch that out through all of June. Some want to go like the 22 days that we did in the past and have shorter days. So we're going to try this out, but again, the principals have done a good job of promoting this. We continue to see, kind of what happens in the high school. I know there are a number of curriculum offerings at the high school that hopefully will fill. One of those being driver's education, which we've had a recent outreach on that through social media and textcast to our parents. So numbers are slightly down, but again, we've still got some time.
This is an action item.
Make a motion to approve summer school objectives as presented.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Did we get anywhere with direction to further pursue driver's education for high school?
We do. That is included in the offerings for this summer. Recently, there was a promotion sent out on district Facebook page, and there was also a textcaster that was sent out from the high school to high school parents, making sure that they were aware that program is being offered. And we're doing that again through through Warrensburg, and we're monitoring that. If we see a point where the interest could justify bringing that program back in-house, that's certainly something that we would consider. As of this time, I don't know if anybody has any numbers on that.
A handful at this point.
And a handful. To that point, again, we're doing the same thing as last year. They can enroll, complete the course, and then we reimburse them for their expenses. So it's an important program. There are a lot of advantages to that, and we will continue to offer that as long as students want to take it, or we need to take a different approach.
Impact Aid update.
As mentioned in my report, just wanted to talk a little bit about Impact Aid. The Trump scheme, well, let me back up. Out in the Spring NAPES conference in DC, obviously, the focus on the new administration was the topic of concern. The skinny budget was not out at that time. It is now. And one of the line items that was in the president's budget was the elimination of Impact Aid funding for federal lands. That does not immediately impact us, but it does show that how easily programs can be cut. When we get into those discretionary funds, when they're trying to hit a target, it's hard to say what will come out of the budget. Based on the platform from the president, I feel more comfortable about the military side of Impact Aid being protected, but it certainly isn't untouchable. If it were to go, I do think, as mentioned earlier, the voucher program and the school choice movement, Impact Aid would be some low-hanging fruit where they could grab some money and repurpose that. So we were tracking that pretty closely. As of right now, again, Indian Lands National Forest Impact Aid was cut. I did hear today, again, through our lobbyists, that there may be some effort at the federal level to eliminate the military side of Impact Aid. That is not something that I'm aware of outside of that conversation this afternoon. Again, I don't think that supports the president's platform as a military-friendly president. But I do want to let you know, we are carefully watching that. More immediately, the district will be impacted by the president's executive order eliminating a hiring freeze among federal agencies. That does include the Impact Aid program. We did speak with the director, Marilyn Hall of Impact Aid. Right now, she's running 4 staff members short. The implication of that is they are a little bit slower in processing payments. So there's a chance that we will not see all of our Impact Aid funding that's expected in this fiscal year. As the board is aware, our fiscal year ends on June 30th, and the federal fiscal year ends October 31st, is that right? 30 September. Our sped director gets her program reports in on October 31st, right? No, she doesn't. She's always on time. September 30 is when their fiscal year ends. So the implication there is we could see that some of those Impact Aid monies come in after the fiscal year. So we anticipate the money will still come in. It just may let the close of the books for this fiscal year look a little bit different. Along with that, we did make a request with Director Hall to try to expedite some of the prior year payments so that we can try to balance that out. So this is one of the things that in the early conversations with our collective bargaining team, we made it very clear that the one thing that we wanted to stress in those bargaining negotiations is what the function is of carrying that high reserve in Fund 1. It's really easy to say for anyone, just it just makes sense to say, hey, we got 65% revenue balances in Fund 1. The state usually recommends about 25%. We've got a lot of discretionary money that can be put into salaries. And the thing that we have to be careful about there is that is our safety net. Let's say Impact Aid was cut, or let's say the voucher program came through and lost 200 kids or 100 kids. That unrestricted reserve balance allows us time as a district to respond, to not have a knee-jerk reaction, but to develop a plan to reduce expenditures to align to those new revenue streams. So that's one thing that we, I think, need to make sure that we clearly understand that, and we're acutely aware of those revenue balances in Fund 1 being the safety net for our employees, for our students in our district. So I did want to just mention that. We will see a slight decline in that revenue balance this year with balances in capital going up slightly, but again, we're still going to be over 50%. We should be over the 50% mark. I don't think it's a reason to panic at this time, but just know that we are watching it very carefully.
Thank you. 2017-18 budget amendment. This is an action item. We'll need a motion.
This wasn't loaded this morning, so I'm just now looking at it. And in looking at it, I don't really understand, are these all the new things being presented, or it doesn't really say what changed? There are some highlights.
This is the ASBR form of the budget, which is what we used last year. I think it was uploaded under executive and then changed to public this morning, but yes, I understand it was the first time that you would see it. This is again the ASBR form, which is provided through CISFIN, which shows basically the budgeted amount on revenues, expenditures, the current balance, percent realized that. You can see through that, and then the projected balance remaining to be spent per line item.
So what has changed?
When we did this amendment, we actually changed a lot of line items. And the reason we did that, we basically recoded a large majority of our special education accounts. Those numbers were in the budget, but they were historically have been coded in different spots. And we made a large number of adjustments to code those into new line items. Likewise, for instance, our administrators prior in past budgets and what was carried forward was putting our administrative salaries into one lump sum. And we went through, for instance, and recoded all of those out of one lump sum and recoded those into the building level appropriate places. So we made, and that spreadsheet would be probably 40 pages long, but it will show on that any amendment to the budget, which in a lot of cases would be an $80,000 line item that would be zeroed out for that account and then moved 80,000 to the next account. And again, I would say the vast majority of that was in our special services department, and we've talked with Dr. Robson about that, and wanted to we want to make sure that our budget coding aligns to what is being reported to the state and federal government. So that's kind of what we've done, and we can provide that to you. The net increase was from original budget was around just short of 300,000. I know this year we've had some additional expenditures that were not expected as well.
Did you account for the different funds where money was deposited that was budgeted through money?
In terms of well, that would be like where you would see the, if you go to page, if you go to page 3, the very bottom, when you see that Fund 4, you can see where the revenues that are projected, they have a deficit, but you can see that you have the overage in that Fund 4 account.
Isn't what we're doing is changing the very first top of the budget number?
We're changing that from Fund 1 to Fund 4.
So, with the amendment, we would be doing not negative in current balance.
Well, it depends on what we still have remaining to come in and where we deposit that. So this is the current snapshot of where we are on revenues and expenditures. So let's say we do happen to get our additional revenues for impact aid in, we deposit those in Fund 1, and then we would see that deficit obviously decrease with that deposit. Does that make sense?
I guess two different things. I don't see where, didn't we put in close to $2 million into Fund 4? This would change that, where the budget amount would be $2.5 million, $3 million.
Copy. I did not make any amendments to revenues. At this time, I only made amendments to expenditures. So if you look at,
is there a reason?
Just because we don't know what we bring in. If I go through and, for for instance, look at our local taxes. We can see that we're down slightly over what was anticipated, but we still may have some that trickle in. And so we will probably, see where we are at the end of June and then those actuals on our revenues. But I mean, we've still got 3 months of revenues to come in.
You said that the expenditures are reflected.
I adjusted I amended expenditures only based on what we're seeing at this time. I did not amend revenues.
I guess what I thought is the, I don't know what the proper term is, like summer school, outstanding bill, that's reflected.
Yes, sir.
That was required.
Yes, sir.
And other bills in that area that are outstanding, whatever the proper terminology is, all reflected.
Yes.
Is there a reason why you chose this? Because when we approved the budget, I don't believe it was in this program.
No.
So,
This is what we used last year on the amendment. It's, we anticipated it to be a more condensed, simplified format to look at. The budget that was originally produced is about that 40-page document with all of historical data, which is mainly, my main function in that initial budget is to try to again, condense that down and compare current to historical. But what we might do is have a time where you and I and Katie come in and sit down and look through the program, and we can look at all the different types of reports that we can do, and I mean, we can get that out if needed.
I don't really like changing. If we start with the format, whether it's happened in the past, I don't really know why. If I was here, I just would understand the question. I feel like in presenting this format, it's not apples and apples. And I feel like there's a lot of stuff behind this that is not pretty to the public and everybody else without taking their time, somebody's time to explain this. So,
And I do believe that was off what, I do believe Mr. Pendellic asked Dr. Wheeler to take the budget and break it down into something that wasn't as large and, that was condensed that we could read. I'm not sure what meeting that was, but I do believe that was something that he did ask for him to do. The budget is important.
The original one, I believe, is uploaded. I have to go back and see.
we get that in the reports, in the expense reports. What I don't see is what has changed in those. So is everything naturally going to appear with the right budget? That's what I was trying to understand.
It's school finance is squirrely. We talked about right now when we go through and make those amendments, we have 3 months left for our 12-month employees and our administrators, and we have 5 months left for our certified staff, and it's very
we have
misleading.
It is. I mean, I feel like we need to. There should be a baseline of what is expected, because really what the expenses are this month, 60, less than 70%, but we're farther along than that. So that trend line is not a linear trend line. It is more exponential at the end. And that number really means nothing to manage off of.
It doesn't, and I know in our monthly reports that we do, where we show the year-to-date activity, and then that far right column is the year-to-date activity as compared to this time last year. And that eventually, hopefully, will be a good indicator for you, but it isn't right now because of the movement of the funds. So the things, some of the things that make it difficult right now, we don't have that 3-year comparative because of the switch in financial programming. We don't really have a 2-year comparative because of the change in coding. So it's going to take us some time to first get the revenues and expenditures in the right line items, and then over time, we will have more reliable, meaningful data to compare on that year-to-date comparative percent. But it's going to take some time before we can look at the report and go, okay, we're trending, X amount of dollars over or under from the department or area. So I'd like to get there. We're trying, but it's going to take some time until we sort out some details. I would have liked to have done that in the budget this year, just didn't happen.
Is there something critical that it does approve this review? I would rather see it in the same format that we were originally approved. So we're comparing apples and apples. Or a listing of what has changed that comes up, which I think would be easier just from the other report. I'm just one of 7 representatives here.
What is everybody else's thoughts on it?
That's just my comment. You guys want to approve?
The working budget has already been changed, so that's the budget that we're working off of. So the board can make amendments, as I understand, as often as you would like through the year. We're limited to 12 in our current programming. But that, again, that's not, it's not imperative that we do it.
I made a request. I would like those reports uploaded in Excel also.
Okay.
Because I can go in and take the zeros out really quickly. Make it more manageable to read.
Okay.
I believe most programs execute.
They do. Okay, we get that done.
Any other discussions or comments on it? So we will go ahead and table this item until next meeting. RFP Bank Depository, this is for information only.
So pursuant to policy DG, selection of depositories shall be made by the bid selection process established by state law. Districts must bid this service at minimum every 5 years. Accordingly, the district will be publishing an RFP this month to receive bids on depository services. Currently, we're with Equity Bank, and they've done a fine job for us. So this is partially related, primarily related to compliance. And just want to make the board aware of that.
Thank you. Under old business, we have Desi Food Service Management Company RFP approval. This is for information only.
Just wanted, for the record, to put in the approval that was received from DESI regarding our RFP. So we were approved by them to go ahead and proceed with that, and look forward to bringing those results in. Just again, we're doing food service management bids as well as the bids for the prime vendor for food and milk.
Okay, and that brings us to adjournment to executive session.
Make a motion to adjourn to executive session pursuant to RSMO 610.021, 3, 13, 2, and 1 by roll call vote. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And 5:10, we'll leave the executive. Thank you all for coming.
This is